Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison this time around between the newly released iPhone 12 mini and the somewhat older Google Pixel 4a. Now, the Pixel 4a has been out for a couple of months now, and what's very interesting is that the 4a is actually about half the cost as the iPhone 12 mini. The 12 mini costs $729 to pick up brand new. The Pixel 4a costs $350 to pick up brand new. So let's go and see which one is the better value per dollar. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these, I'll find the cheapest ones on Amazon, link them down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely see that the iPhone 12 mini is a smaller phone in pretty much every single dimension, which is interesting because they both kind of are around the same size. They feel about the same in the hand. The 12 mini does feel a little bit less wider, but the Pixel 4a, I mean, there's not really a humongous difference, I would say, but there's definitely a slight one. On the front of the Pixel 4a, you have a 5.81-inch OLED panel on it, and it's a really good looking panel for the most part for the price tag. I mean, this is half the cost as a 12 mini, and it's crazy that this phone is this cheap because if you look at it, it kind of looks a little bit better than the 12 mini because it doesn't have a notch, it doesn't have super thick bezels, that has a hole punch display just like the newer ones like the Galaxy S20, S20 Ultra, Note 20, those type of phones, and it really doesn't look bad. I mean, it's actually a pretty decent panel. It's a good resolution. The resolution is about this, is exactly the same on both these for the most part. So definitely when it comes down to it, the Pixel 4a has a really good looking panel. The iPhone 12 mini, on the other hand, does have a 5.4-inch panel on it, and it's a Super Retina XDR OLED panel. Now, I will tell you, I think the panel looks better on the iPhone 12 mini, but I like the way the panel is developed on the Pixel 4a with the hole punch display versus the notch. So it's kind of the biggest difference between these two, but I think for sure when it comes down to it, the iPhone 12 mini looks amazing. The Pixel 4a also looks amazing too when it comes down to it in terms of the thickness and thinness between the two. As you can see, they both look roughly about the same. I don't really feel like one is way thinner or thicker than the other one. Maybe if I had to say, maybe the iPhone 12. Actually, I don't know. I think they're both roughly about the same. I don't think one is thicker or thinner than the other one, to be honest. And on the back, you can see glass back on the iPhone 12 mini, plastic back on the Pixel 4a with the fingerprint sensor right here, single camera setup on the Pixel 4a, dual camera setup on the iPhone 12 mini. Now, because of that cheaper price tag on the Pixel 4a, Google did have to take, a couple of, weird things. They had to, decrease the build quality a little bit. They didn't add any IP certification on this phone. There's no wireless charging on this phone either. The iPhone 12 mini does have IP certification. It does have wireless charging, and it definitely feels far more premium than the Pixel 4a. So definitely keep that in mind. But really, in terms of the outside, that pretty much covers it up. Now, software-wise, I will tell you the Pixel 4a is going to be lasting for a very long time for an Android phone. The iPhone 12 mini is going to be lasting a very long time in general. The 12 mini should theoretically last, I think, about 3 more years than the Pixel 4a, maybe 2 years, but it's still going to be a very long time. After the Pixel 4a is done being supported, by the stock software support, you will still kind of have custom ROMs out there too, and I think there's some available for the Pixel 4a now. So that's a pretty big deal in my opinion. So when it comes down to the software, the Pixel 4a may be, not as good as the 12 mini in terms of stock software support, but you're still going to have custom ROMs available for the Pixel 4a, which is going to be awesome. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The Pixel 4a has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, now that we're back, let me go and clear all the apps in the background, and as you can see, for the most part, they are cleared out. So we're loading them up. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. The animations were a little bit slower on the Pixel 4a for sure. Let's do App Store, 3, 2, 1. And the Pixel 4a, I think, was faster to load up. Android is always so much faster to load the App Store up, but as you can see, the smoothness factor definitely goes for the iPhone. You can see just as scrolling by, it looks so much smoother on the iPhone 12 mini than on the Pixel 4a for sure. Hopping out of that, let's go and get into these third-party apps that I always download. Let's do Bofa, 3, 2, 1. And again, the animations are just, it seems like it takes an extra second for it to register when I click on it. So that was something that's very interesting that I saw right immediately. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the Pixel 4a was actually faster there. The iPhone 12 mini was a little bit slower. Getting into some gameplay, let's see if there's a difference. And it did seem to stutter a little bit on the Pixel 4a. Let's go into the next one, which is Crossy Road, which I don't think I have here. So we'll do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the iPhone 12 mini does seem to be a little bit faster potentially, It's looking like it for sure. And as you can see, it was way ahead of the Pixel 4a for sure. The Pixel 4a eventually gets into it, but the iPhone 12 mini was for sure faster. Let's get into some gameplay and see if there's a difference, which I don't think there's going to be, but again, I could be wrong. and it's looking to be about the same on both. So let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go ahead and do Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Now I do hope I have it downloaded here. There could be a situation where it's not downloaded, so I guess we'll see how it goes, but we'll just wait and see. As you can see, the 12 mini was noticeably faster than the Pixel 4a. The 4a, I'm going to be assuming that it is downloaded because it probably would have messed up by now. And as you can see, we do get into it eventually on the 4a, so it was for sure faster on the iPhone 12 mini than the Pixel 4a for sure. Let's go and do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. 12 mini again is the faster one. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. 12 mini again is the faster one there. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. I think the Pixel 4a was actually a little bit faster there. That was surprising. It looked like it was going to be the opposite. It looked like the 12 mini again was going to be the faster one. Gameplay looks about the same too. I don't really think there's a difference between these two, but the Pixel 4a for sure was faster. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And that one's kind of tough. I think the 12 mini was faster. The 4a took a little bit of time to load that image. Let's do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. 12 mini was faster. 4a a little bit behind. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the 12 mini was definitely far faster than the Pixel 4a. Eventually, we do get into it on the Pixel 4a, but it was for sure faster on the 12 mini. And I mean, honestly, to kind of sum up the specific speed comparison, I can definitely tell you the Pixel 4a was probably a little bit slower more times than not than the 12 mini. I think the 12 mini actually did a really good job in terms of the speed and app opening. But again, to just keep this in mind, the Pixel 4a is a $350 phone. The 12 mini is a $729 phone brand new. So even though the Pixel 4a was a little bit behind in some apps, it was still faster in some apps too. But I will tell you, the price per dollar standpoint for the value, you're getting a much better value of from a performing device on the Pixel 4a than on the iPhone 12 mini for sure. So that pretty much covers up the speed comparison. I'll do a full one if you guys want to see it, but let's go and hit on the cameras. Now, as I stated before, dual camera setup on the iPhone 12 mini, 12 megapixel wide angle lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, where the Pixel 4a has a single 12.2 megapixel wide angle lens. Now, the Pixel lineup of phones have always had a really good, overall camera quality, and for sure the Pixel 4a is no different. You have, a single lens. Unfortunately, you don't have an ultra-wide sensor or a telephoto lens, and you can only tap out a 4K at 30. Now, that might be a big deal to some people. I would say so. I would say, you're kind of already missing out on some camera features, but I feel like the software quality of these photos are actually really good. You're still getting a lot of quality. You're still getting, a lot of features built in, portrait mode, night sight, all that stuff. But the 8 megapixel front facing camera is another area I'm not too big of a fan of. I mean, you can only do 1080p at 30, just like the Pixel 5. So that's another big deal in my opinion. I would rather have a better front facing camera than a better back camera, but I'd rather have both, to be honest. And with a phone like the iPhone 12 mini, you're pretty much getting that. I mean, this is going to be a better quality phone for sure when it comes down to the camera. With its ultra-wide sensor, you can zoom out a lot more, which is cool. You also have, that wide-angle lens, which is really nice. But you can do 4K at 60 on the back as well as 4K at 60 on the front as well. And that's a pretty big difference, in my opinion. If you're trying to get a phone that's going to last the longest in terms of just hardware in general, the iPhone will definitely do you better than the Pixel 4a for sure. But I still think for the price tag, the Pixel 4a's camera is actually pretty decent as well. It just so happens that the 12 mini has a better camera sensor when it comes down to it. Now, ending it off with the battery life, the Pixel 4a actually has a 3140 mAh battery. The iPhone 12 mini has a 2227 mAh battery. And I did find from my test that the iPhone 12 mini doesn't last as long as the Pixel 4a. So take that as you will. I will hopefully be dropping those battery comparisons sometime soon. I probably will forget to, or maybe I'll do them on my second channel. But definitely when it comes down to it, the Pixel 4a had better battery life from my test. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the iPhone 12 mini? Should you pick up the Pixel 4a? What I will tell you is, for the price per dollar standpoint, the Pixel 4a is an extremely hard phone to beat. I mean, this is a brand new device that, it isn't the best feeling device for sure. You're still getting, a headphone jack, which I forgot to mention. You're getting USB Type-C. You're getting an amazing build quality. You're getting a really good phone. You're getting a really good screen. And did I say amazing build quality? I didn't mean to say that. It's very average when it comes down to that. But if you throw a good case on this, you'll probably forget about it. But it's just a really good phone overall, and the software experience is stock, so you don't have a lot of just willy-nilly stuff going on in the background, which is really nice. And it's a very good phone at the end of the day. But the places that, like I said before, the 4A kind of lacks in, the iPhone 12 mini kind of excels in, the build quality. This phone feels like a really, really good phone still. Now, especially compared to the 4A, because this phone is pretty much built out of plastic, this one has glass, aluminum. It just feels so good overall, and that is a huge advantage for the iPhone 12 mini. I did find that the cameras on this 12 mini were also far superior. I mean, this thing has a lot more capability when it comes down to the lenses, both front and the back, which is a really, really important thing when you're, somebody who wants to take photos and you're somebody who just wants a phone that's going to last as long as possible. The 12 mini will definitely get that job done for you. So that's another huge advantage. The software experience is, going to be longer on the 12 mini, and the performance was overall faster too, as I stated. But as something like the Pixel 4a, it's really hard to look at this phone and say, oh, it's that much worse of a phone than the iPhone 12 mini, because to be honest, the price tag of the Pixel 4a really makes up for a lot of those issues. Even though the iPhone 12 mini has IP certification, it has wireless charging, and it is the faster phone between the two, the Pixel 4a for $350 has done a really, really good job with the specific chipset that it has, with its build quality, with its software. So I don't see how you can look at the Pixel 4a and tell me that it's anything but a success, that it's anything but a really good phone. Even compared to the 12 mini, the Pixel 4a does a really, really good job for sure. So that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.